Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon. We got all coasts attending this call. Very excited. Give everybody just a minute to pop in, and then we will get started. Thanks for being on camera, those of you that are on camera. It's good to see your faces. Cool. Well, to start, since this is going to be a fun, tight-knit pilot group, we have 11 chapters participating. But just so you guys know who else is in this fun boat with you, if you could put your name and chapter in the chat. That way everybody gets to know who their immediate pilot go-to team is here as we test out all these new features related to gamification. That would be great. And as you're doing that, I think we have almost everybody, looks like. So we will dive in. So welcome, everybody. For those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Lexi Milford, Director of Instructional Design at First Tee headquarters. I'm very excited to have all of you have raised your hand to participate in a gamification technology pilot. So some of you have been on this journey with us around badging and gamification for a while. I know we've been talking about this as sort of the final piece to our curriculum evolution puzzle. And we're really excited that now that all sort of the game pieces launched last year, that we're able to essentially connect the pipes behind the scenes so that kids, parents, coaches, chapter staff, everybody can see all the amazing accomplishments our kids are earning and all the different ways that we have for them to earn them now. So we're excited to have you guys participate and looking forward to your feedback. So what we're just going to cover briefly today, and then get into some of the actual technical pieces of what is included in the pilot. We're just going to do a quick review of what gamification is when we say that word in First Tee. Go over a little bit of the timeline and expectations for you guys as participants in the pilot, which I know we shared previously. Then we will get into some of the enhancements that will be available to your chapters as part of this pilot. And then talk about some of the resources we've got through the chapter intranet and some self-service tutorials and some ways that you can connect with us at First Tee headquarters as questions, thoughts, suggestions, feedback come up over the course of the month. So with that, we will dive right in. So First Tee's gamification system, our goal overall with all the badges and different ways that we're recognizing participants for their accomplishments both on and off the golf course is really to increase engagement, motivation, and ultimately retention. So one of the biggest goals of introducing gamification or badging to the First Tee program activities is really to entice kids to keep coming back. We've seen this work with other youth serving organizations like Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, and this was one of the top recommendations when we did our curriculum audit a few years back, to really come up with a way to provide more ways to recognize our participants so they want to come back and keep earning more accomplishments through our programs. So ultimately, retention is our goal, and we think that the combination of the different ways kids can earn badges will hopefully drive that behavior going forward, and you guys will keep seeing a greater increase of retention in the coming years. So a lot of this will be review, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but just as a quick reminder, last year we were able to bring to the table essentially 3 different types of badges through a couple different platforms. So the first being attendance badges. Attendance is tracked through the First Tee Coaches app. So right now, everybody on this call has picked up the Coaches app at some point over the past year and had coaches use it in class to track attendance, which is why part of the reason you got the invitation to participate in the pilot. But essentially, we are now converting those attendance records into actual badges for participants to see in a digital trophy case, which we'll get to later on. So that process will remain the same. The way that coaches are taking attendance now through the Coaches app will be exactly how they will continue to take attendance in the future, but how they show up for parents and kids and coaches and chapter staff on the back end will show up as a badge earned for attending that class. The second type of badge that we introduced last year were sticker badges or skill badges. You might see those words used interchangeably here going forward. Essentially, these are the physical, tangible artifacts that we can give kids that they can hold on to. They can adhere to colorful bag tags, wear them on their backpack, on their golf bags. But this is sort of that immediate gratification, if you will, that when a kid does something awesome during a challenge day or a play day or some sort of behavior during class that really exemplifies our life skills, golf skills, or key commitments, you're able to give them something as a pat on the back and a physical gift, if you will, that they can take with them to prove that they did something really great in class and the coach saw it. So the stickers and bag tags, all of you in this group have picked those up also in the past year and started to hopefully play with those a little bit with your kids. We've seen some great feedback from the kids that have participated. We've gotten some awesome pictures. So we're excited as those continue to grow and get in the hands of participants that they can hold on to those accomplishments as they go throughout the program. And then the last type of badge is digital badges. So we launched the First Tee app in the spring of last year. I can confidently say 100% of our network is now making the app accessible to our kids, which is awesome. So they have a chance to get out away from class and complete knowledge challenges and lessons and games and earn digital badges automatically for completing those activities through the app. So it's nothing that you guys have to do. They are on their way earning. We had about 10,000 badges earned last year across the network, which was pretty cool to see as kids were picking it up. So it's something that they can do on their own, a way to stay engaged with all things First Tee life skills curriculum. So your chapters have done essentially all three types of these badges over the past year, which we thank you for. You're kind of early adopters. You guys are hitting the ground running with all things gamification. And hopefully you guys will start to see some of the fruits of that labor here in the next year or so when it comes to kids getting excited to come to class and wanting to come back. So one of the things that we're hoping to accomplish this year is, like I said in the beginning, kind of connecting those three types of badges together through the different technology platforms on which they currently exist. So bag tags is a physical artifact. They don't exist in the technology world. We have attendance badges, which are all living in Salesforce as attendance records. We have digital badges that are all living on our learning management platform for kids to be able to go see as they're completing games and activities in the app. What we've been developing over the past 6 months or so essentially is a way for all of that information to flow back and forth together so that aggregate badge data appears no matter what platform you're logging into, whoever you are. So for you as a chapter staff person logging into the admin side of Salesforce, as you start to track sticker badges and you're taking attendance and kids are completing games on the app, you'll be able to see a comprehensive list, essentially a trophy case for each participant on everything they've accomplished gamification-wise through First Tee. Similarly, a participant logging into the First Tee app will see all of their accomplishments both on and off the golf course that they've done on the app, that you've tracked as they're earning stickers, and that they've attended class. And they'll have a digital trophy case that they can view through the First Tee app that reflects the same data that you're seeing in Salesforce. And then thirdly, through the coaches app, the exact same thing will be happening. All that information will be connecting and tying together and flowing through to participant trophy cases through the coaches app that the coach can have at the palm of their hand when they're looking at their rosters and seeing what kids have been doing maybe outside the class in the app, or making sure that they're getting the stickers and attendance badges that they're earning while they're in person with the kids. So all of this technology now exists. We're very excited about it. We tested it. It really works, which is amazing and wonderful. So now it's time for you guys to help us make sure that it actually works in the field. So from a data standpoint, it's all flowing. Now we need your help to prove sort of the use case and methods to making it come to life in real life in front of the kids for First Tee programs. So today is our kickoff of the pilot, where we'll go through the different pieces that are involved and the enhancements that we've made. And then really over the course of the next month, you guys will be helping us by tracking those sticker badges, which is really the number one to do for you guys as coaches and chapter staff, is tracking those sticker badges, whether it be in the coaches app or on the back end of Salesforce, so that trophy cases are a true reflection, and no matter what platform they log into, and all of the accomplishments that a participant has across all things First Tee all show up in all the different places. So between now and Monday, essentially, we will be looking on the back end of Salesforce. We're making a few final tweaks to some of the data structures. But hopefully by the end of this week, we will be essentially turning on gamification technology for your chapter. That means that the enhancements that we'll show you today, you'll start to see on the coaches app and on your admin side of Salesforce as early as hopefully Friday. So between now and Monday, and when you have all this information, we would like you guys to think about the ways that you can communicate this to your coaches, and really how you're going to set expectations around how this is going to be piloted essentially within your chapter. We do not expect you to launch this to every single program location and every single coach on your roster. That's a big ask. You're more than welcome to if you want to take that on. But really, we're hoping for you guys to look at 1 to 2 program locations and a few really dedicated, committed coaches that could try this out and be tracking those sticker badges throughout their in-person classes, live on the coaches app. And then you as chapter staff also be looking on the back end of Salesforce and managing badges and reports and data that way as well. So we're getting a handful of classes and a handful of coaches to try this out. So don't feel like you have to all of a sudden call a big staff meeting. This is really a pilot. So take your best of your best, if you like, and have them test it out. And we'd love to get their feedback. So as part of the expectations of our participating coaches, in addition to actually tracking the badges, we'd love to hear how that went for them. So we'll have ways where they can share feedback directly, whether it's through our Q&A on March 11th or 25th that they can certainly come to. But we're also looking at some maybe surveys or other ways that they can send feedback directly to headquarters as part of the pilot as well, since they'll be the kind of the boots on the ground really with the technology in their hands. So in addition to all that, we do have a whole bunch of resources that we did populate on the intranet on that gamification page. So feel free to click around there. If you feel like there's something missing or you're looking for a resource, feel free to reach out to us and we'll work on a way to make it happen. And then last but not least, looking at your data in Salesforce, ensuring that the coaches you do want to help participate in this pilot are attached to the classes and listing sessions in Salesforce to make sure they can access the new technology via the app for those classes that you do want to be tracking badges for. So starting on the 26th, you will definitely have access to all this technology and you can start awarding badges. So like I said before, attendance will be exactly the same as it always has been. They'll continue with that process. The new addition will be awarding the sticker badges through the app that they're kind of correlating to what they're giving to the kid in person. And then really just supporting your coaches with the different resources that we have on the intranet, keeping an eye on that data, seeing what other ways you might want to slice and dice that data. We have a few reports in Salesforce to start out, but if there's different ways that you're interested in seeing that data put together, feel free to reach out and let us know in the feedback sessions or through our support queue, and we can certainly look at hopefully getting some of those reports spun up for you as well. And then lastly, as part of this, really, we just want to know how it's going. So we do have, like I said, a support queue. If you use hashtag gamification, you'll come straight to myself and Sandy here at headquarters. And then we also have 2 open sessions live that we'd love for you to try to attend, that you can provide feedback directly to us on sort of how it's going and what you need and what's going well and what could be better. So the goal of all of this is to understand how big of a lift, honestly, it is to pick up and how we might be able to roll this technology out to the rest of the network based on the feedback that you guys are hearing from both your own experiences and from your coaches. I'm going to pause there because that was a lot and I was talking really fast. Are there any questions right off the get-go before I go into sort of the back-end technology pieces?
Hey, Lexi, really quick, I did just want to share, I'm getting some emails from a few people who are, for some reason, having a hard time getting in. So if you have individuals reaching out to you, you can see Teal's messaging Lexi.
Oh, yes.
If you have individuals who are having a hard time, Please let them know I'm trying to figure out why. If I can figure out what's going on, I will reach back out to them. But in the meantime, this meeting is being recorded, so we'll share that out with everyone afterwards.
Well, thanks, Peyton. All right, awesome. Perfect. So I am going to pivot now to really the changes that you guys are going to see as part of the pilot from a technology standpoint. So let's see if I can do this fairly seamlessly. So the first place I wanted to show you guys some of the enhancements and new additions is within the Coaches app. So please ignore all of this crazy code stuff on the right-hand side. I'm doing this from my web browser, not from my mobile phone. So just focus right here for me as Coach Charles Xavier in a very awesome named listing session, Mushroom Kingdom. So when you are in the Coaches app, all of this will hopefully look familiar to you. We have not changed the main navigation across the bottom. The layout is essentially the same. We just added a few features as you click through it around badge management and viewing badge data for the participants. So as a coach, when you're ready to go into your class, you'll do the same thing that you always do and click into the day that you are hoping to get data flowing into. So whether you're taking attendance or awarding badges, you'd follow the same procedure. Once you're in the class, you'll see the take attendance button is still there. It's exactly the same as it was. But this new button called Award Badges is now available to coaches as part of this pilot. If you click into Award Badges from your class, you'll see a new screen pop up similar to attendance, just a slight variation because we do have to assign them a specific badge. So there are 17 unique badges per bag tag. If you look at the bag tags as they're designed, and each one of those dots on the bag tag is reflected in a badge list when you click the select button. So the nice part about the badge list that pops up is it will be filtered to the age group that is associated to that listing session. So as you're looking at when you're setting things up on the back end, make sure you put ages around the listing session details so that the list can filter and you're not seeing 17 times 4 badges for every single class that they're trying to scroll through to find the correct one. We also correlated the icons to the color of the coach guides for the age group. So all of 7 to 9 is green, and so on and so forth. If you look at the coach guide colors, we tried to align the coach icons to the same color so it's easy and quick to see for them to pick. I'm on in the 7 to 9 class, I need a 7 to 9 badge. We also broke it out into the 3 different categories that are on the bag tag. So your life skill badges, your key commitments, and your golf skills are in separate columns. So you're not scrolling through one giant list of badges. We tried to break it out depending on maybe the skill or activity or game that you're playing that day that you're awarding badges for. You should hopefully be able to quickly find what you're looking for and pick a badge. So when you know the badge that you just gave a sticker for or are going to give a sticker for a participant, you can select it. And you'll see that if that badge has already been awarded to that participant in that same listing session, you cannot award it to them again. The idea with the bag tags is it's 1 sticker per dot. So we tried to match the technology to that intention. So good old Mario and Luigi cannot get the Be Honest badge again because they already got it in a previous class, but I could give it to Loki, Thor, or Donkey Kong if I so chose. So in order to select the participants that got the badge, you would do it exactly the same way you do attendance. You'll notice as you check the boxes, the awarded date populates and also a little icon pops up that it's auto-saved and the badge has been awarded. If you didn't mean to give Loki, the God of Mischief, a Be Honest badge, which would make sense, you can actually uncheck within the same class, within the same day, and essentially unaward the badge from his record. That information is delayed. So a kid will not be seeing badges flash in and out of their trophy case if they happen to be looking at it at the same time that you're tracking badges. It does take, I think, up to an hour to make it all the way over to the participant side of within the app. So coaches can be checking and unchecking things throughout class if they need to, or at the end of class. And then there will be a delay once it's fully set in stone and they're good to go. Then they'll populate on the participant side of the trophy case. So there's nothing to do to save. It will simply automatically save, just like attendance does. And those badges will remain awarded for those participants that you selected for that day. If you have other badges that you need to award on the same day, you'll just go back into the top, select a new badge. Okay, I want to do a golf skill badge, and you'll follow the same process. So you'll be able to award. You don't want Spider-Man to have it, so take it away from Spider-Man. And the same thing happens. Everybody is auto awarded, or auto saved, excuse me. And the awarded date pops up, so you know that that is the day that they got that badge. The last piece I wanted to show you within the coaches app, or actually from here, they can navigate back to the attendance and the rosters the same way that they would always do, as coming into the app to see the pieces of information. So they can be taking attendance and awarding badges, viewing the roster, the lesson plans, all the same as they were before. Just that new part is the award badges. The other way that you can kind of see some of this information and look per participant for the trophy case information and the badges that that participant has earned is through the participants tab. So you as a coach will be able to see all the participants that are in your active session, just for normal. And when you click into a participant, you'll see a new menu item at the top of their profile that's called Trophy Case. This trophy case is aggregating all of the information across the different platforms. So if you had ever awarded Hawkeye sticker badges in the past, you'll see a list of all the sticker badges that that participant has earned and when they got them, for all time initially. Same with how many times they attended a class and any digital badges that they might have earned in the app on their own away from the course. This filter up here is editable by coaches if they want to look at different time frames. We have the choices of all time. You can look for their current year activity or within the session itself that they're coaching. So if at the end of a session, they want to see how many sticker badges Hawkeye got, you can filter it just by the session to be able to see what you maybe as a coach had awarded in that time frame. One thing to note, if you do pick the session filter, is the digital badges go away from the trophy case. It doesn't mean they're not earned by the participant, but that data is not necessarily tied to a specific listing session. So that filter removes them from the trophy case view. If you want to go back to see the digital badges, you can go by all time and they'll repopulate. And I believe in current year, they also populate. So those are the biggest changes that you're going to see in the coaches app. It's really the addition of the award badges button and the process of going through that, and the trophy case. So as a coach, you can be able to pull all this information and have it available. If a kid is maybe missing a sticker, you can pull it back up to make sure that you tracked it. And you can always go back in, similarly with attendance. You can go back in up to 30 days after a listing session is over and be able to award badges in those classes. Any questions before I move on to the fun Salesforce side of this?
Lexi, I'll say what's been in the chat, and then if you have any other ones, you can raise your hand. It was answered, but just confirming that the digital badges in the coaches app match the sticker badges that you're giving out in class.
So the digital badges as a category are reflective of First Tee app activities. So
Sorry, I think it was the like what badges you're giving out in the coaches app. Because I'm just confirming that it is the same ones that are on the sticker.
Yes, exactly. The only ones that you'll be awarding via the coaches app will be the same as the stickers you're physically handing to kids. Everything else, as far as digital badges, the kids are earning away from class. The attendance is simply just taking attendance and a badge will populate. So the only badges are the ones that are on the actual bag tag.
Great. And then another one is there a message from HQ that we can send to the parents of kids regarding badging and being able to see it in the app now?
Yes, we are working on some communication strategies as in addition to like a templated web page for you guys to maybe add to your websites throughout the pilot. Stay tuned for some of those. We're still tweaking some of the language as we're finalizing some of this development over the next day or so. So we will definitely let you guys know when those are available and you can start to share sort of the new process, especially if you're kicking off bag tags this year or this season. We will definitely help you and can provide some information for you guys to share with parents.
I have a
Great, and it looks
question.
like, oh, go ahead.
You know, you only have 4 golf skills that have badges, but you run an 8-week session.
Mhm.
Why can't we award multiple stickers for the same activity? I think the kids wouldn't mind seeing that they've gotten 3 for putting or something like that.
Yeah, so you can absolutely give them as many stickers as you like. The technology on the back end is built so that they're earning it one time throughout the session from a points standpoint, if that makes sense. I know points are not reflected necessarily in here right now, but long term, when you're thinking about, or as we're developing sort of this overall gamification system, each one of these badges is going to have associated points values. And the intent is that they're filling the bag tag up once before they would get a new bag tag to fill again with the same skills. Again, you guys from a implementation standpoint can stack those babies as high as you want, and the kids probably love it. The technology side, though, is limited to 1 per awarding on the back end. If that makes sense.
I mean, yeah, that's what we're doing on the physical bag tags is
Yeah.
awarding it multiple times. But if this was to reflect the physical one with the digital, I just didn't know why it couldn't. But you're saying it's a technology issue, so.
It's the current development. I think it could be a great piece of feedback as you're talking to your coaches and your kids. We'd love to learn more like how they feel about that. It's a great question to sort of ask them, engage their feedback. Again, this is not out in the universe and final. We built the basics, and this is why we're piloting with you guys to get the information on what's really going to be best from an implementation standpoint for your coaches and kids. So definitely ask them and see how they feel about it. I think it could be an awesome enhancement maybe someday. But I think the initial technology we wanted to make sure worked, and then you guys tell us what can make it better throughout the pilot.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lexi. Jason has his hand raised.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Actually, that previous question kind of answered mine, so I would draw my hand.
Okay, perfect. Sounds good. Great question.
No other questions at the moment.
Okay, great. All right, so that was the coach's app. Now I'm going to take you back to our favorite place in the world, the back end of Salesforce, where there are some enhancements for our chapter admins. So you guys that have our licensed users on the back end of Salesforce that are creating listing sessions and things like that, managing your coaches to be able to also manage badges and badge data on the back end of Salesforce. So the first place I'm going to take you is, again, similar to the attendance opportunities, I guess, for tracking in the back end of Salesforce is this Manage Classes tab. So when you're in a listing session, we launched this a while back, I think, around a way for you guys to take attendance a little bit easier and also to be able to cancel and reschedule classes for a specific listing session. So as part of gamification technology, we've added the ability for you to award badges on the back end, but also see when attendance or badges have been recorded digitally for a specific class within the listing session. So you'll notice there's some check marks and stars sitting on the class colors. The check marks means that there's at least 1 attendance record for that class that was taken through the app that day. And the star means that badges were also awarded for the class for that day. So at least 1 attendance and at least 1 badge will get you an icon that shows something happened from a gamification standpoint during that class. If you go to a class that doesn't have anything, you'll be able to, right now you can cancel a class and take attendance. But you guys, as part of the pilot, will have the new button that is awarding badges. And this should look very familiar to the exact same, almost the exact same format as what is in the Coaches app. They'll go through the same process as you would if you were actually doing this on your mobile device, and you'd select your badge. You'd award to your participants. The same rules apply. You can check and uncheck, and it acts exactly the same as it does in the app. And you can go through and find your different badges and keep awarding or unawarding as needed from the back end of Salesforce. So let's see if I can get out of here. And so then from there, you'll see I put a badge on. So now this class has an icon that says badges were awarded as part of this class. One thing I will note for you guys is chapter admins, because of the way that the data structure is for the badge records. When you have a coach that potentially misawarded a badge or accidentally awarded to too many kids or the wrong kid, you can come back in here and unaward it from the back end of Salesforce, since you won't be able to necessarily immediately in the app anymore because they'll be out of that class. But you'll have to be in the class that the badge was awarded in. So it's a little bit tricky, and we'll try to help you navigate through different reports and being able to see the different badges. But if you were to go into a class, and by the way, this is a total guess, and see if I can find one that was awarded this day. The chances are pretty slim, but I'll try. You'll see that I can't uncheck this box because I'm not in the class that happened on the 15th of January. So if I need to go and unaward this Captain America pup badge, I would have to go back to the class that happened on January 15th and unaward from there. Just something kind of quirky with the data, but that is how it works on the back. So generally speaking, the Manage Classes tab is going to be kind of your go-to if you're trying to bulk add a lot of badges to a lot of different kids as part of your classes. You can do attendance and badges at the same time, all from this one area within your listing session. The other thing that place that you can sort of find, that you can find badge data is within the kit itself. So if you were to go to our favorite example, the participant, so say a parent calls you or a kid is asking maybe why they don't see a particular badge on their first T at trophy case, or they thought they got it, but it doesn't show up anywhere. You can navigate to the actual participant record, and there'll be a new tab on that contact record called badges. So from the badges, this is essentially a view only area. But for right now, you'll be able to see all of the attendance, all of the sticker badges, and all the digital badges actually that the participant has earned over the course of their entire life with First Tee. So you'll be able to filter by and sort by, if it's a specific listing session, you can alphabetize by the badge name. This earned badge record will tell you nothing because it's a whole bunch of letters and numbers that doesn't really mean anything, but basically you can go through and double check that the kid should be seeing the badge, or if for some reason we did not award it, you would go back to that Manage Classes tab and be able to award the participant that badge. I will say we are working on a way to be able to award from this view right here, but it was not something that was going to be able to be developed in time for us to kick off this pilot. So hopefully it'll be an enhancement that comes soon, so you'll be able to add a badge for a specific participant right from the participant contact record in Salesforce. I'll pause there. Any questions?
Lexi, one question in the chat. Is the attendance badge only digital, or do they get a sticker for attendance?
We do not have a sticker spot on the bag tag for attendance. You're welcome to give a kid a sticker for attendance. But it does not have a spot designated on the bag tag. So it will, in this form, be kind of only a digital artifact that they'll see across. It's both in the Coaches at Trophy case and the First Tee at Trophy case.
Hey, Lexi, quick question.
Yes.
I was just in Salesforce looking at a couple participants and I don't see the badge tab. Is that my license maybe, or?
No, we haven't turned it on for you yet. So,
Gotcha.
you will not see it. If you notice, I'm still in our testing environment of Salesforce. With blue, you're probably in the green Salesforce. It is coming. That's one of those final tweaks we are making to make sure all that digital badge data, there's those 10,000 badges across the network are coming over, and as part of kind of us activating gamification. So the badges tab will be one of those things that you'll see hopefully by the end of the week. And you'll be able to see digital badges to start. And then as you guys are populating sticker and attendance, those will also start to fill up on those lists.
Beautiful. Okay, thanks.
No problem. Jason, I think your hand.
Yeah, and this is probably not a big deal in the long run, but I know kids are competitive.
No way.
Yeah, the one or two coaches that, we pilot with this with, will their participants kind of just have a head start, I guess, as far as earning badges and points and all that?
A little bit. I will just be transparent about that. So the kids that end up getting badges in the beginning of this pilot, we do have an opportunity to get a little bit of a head. That's why we're kind of only piloting for a month. So we're not giving them too long of a runway. But the points right now are not in use for anything specific. So things like leaderboards or eventually being able to turn those points in for something doesn't actually exist in our network-wide gamification process. So they won't get so far ahead that it'll be inequitable for kids as chapters come on in the future. And the beauty of it is you can slice and dice the data and filter out essentially any badges that you've awarded maybe as part of the pilot versus ones that are awarded once you're kind of up and running fully as the chapter. So that is one perk of having all this information in Salesforce is we can kind of set up our reports and sort of internal leaderboards, not that the kids would necessarily see them on any sort of platform that they access, but for you guys from a reporting standpoint, you'll be able to move that date around and figure out what types of badges and things you want to recognize kids for in a certain time frame, however you like.
Okay, sounds good.
That's a good question. Yes.
Perfect. I'll also say as a chapter admin, if you want to retroactively go back and do it for other listing sessions and participants, you'll have that ability. I know it's not as easy to do, hence why we have the coaches app, but that'll be an option if, the kids get super competitive and really need to see their badges in there.
Sounds good.
Another question is, after filling out the bag tag, are they redeeming physical awards? And do they keep adding stickers to their bag tag, I think, until they age up to the next session or class?
So the first part of that is, do they redeem it? So right now, there is no First Tee network-wide redemption opportunity. We're leaving that up to you guys on how you want to potentially celebrate or award kids for an accumulation of accomplishments or fulfilling their bag tag or however you'd like to do that. I believe I've already heard from some chapters that they're using it as a way for kids to get free range balls or rounds of golf or a hat at the end of the session or things like that. That is totally up to you on how you would like to provide that type of thing, those types of things for your kids. It's in our long-term vision that eventually, yes, we would be able to have sort of this network-wide opportunity for kids to be able to turn in points for something. It's a logistical challenge, to be quite honest, but we are definitely on our roadmap to think about ways to make that happen for kids as part of the overall gamification system. And then your second question around bag tags. So in the badging guide, as part of the bag tags and sticker badges, we recommend that the kid gets a new bag tag every session. However, we know that that is sometimes cost prohibitive. So we have heard from a handful of chapters that we brought together at the end of last year that had actually done bag tags and stickers in the fall of last year, that they were treating it as once you fill up your card, you get a new one. So whether or not the kid is actually aging up into the next session, where they would get a different color necessarily, if they're 10 and they fill up their card and they come back at 11, they get a brand new game card to try to fill up with all the accomplishments in the future sessions that they're participating with you while they're that age. So it's up to you guys, that you guys know your kids and coaches best on what's going to work from a frequency and how often you're kind of turning over those bag tags. But If you think of it like a game card, like they're coming to class to try to fill it up. Once they fill it up, they turn it in, and whether they get something is up to you, but they turn it in to get a brand new one to see how many times they can fill it up before they maybe age up to the next group and get the new color and try to fill that one up. So that's the spirit behind it. Again, the logistics, you guys absolutely will know what's going to work for your chapter's best, and we would love to hear how it goes. It's a kind of a blind, I can't be in every class to watch you hand out stickers and bag tags. So that's a big piece of this feedback loop also, is understanding sort of how you're training and educating your coaches on how to use those as well. Great question.
I don't see any other questions in the chat.
Cool. All right, so we'll just jump back into this. We went through our enhancements. So the last thing we wanted to call out before we sort of open it up for any final thoughts, questions, is really the resources that we have available. So we sent out a communication last week, I believe, around the intranet page. There it is, password protected because it is a pilot, and we want you guys to have access to these resources, but this isn't technology that's broadly available. So make sure you save that password for that page to get in to be able to access the self-service tutorials that are video walkthroughs. We have some quick reference guides that we've updated that originally for the Coaches app initial launch last year. We've revised them to include some of the badging and trophy case information. So feel free to share those with your coaches, in addition to some of the videos that are from the coach perspective. So we did record as if you were in the app. So hopefully the coaches can follow along. It's fairly intuitive, but if they need to watch somebody walk through it, feel free to share those videos with them as well. This deck and recording will also be available on that page once it's finalized and ready to go. And then last but certainly not least, we do have a dedicated support queue set up for this group specifically as we're going through the gamification pilot. So if you use hashtag gamification, and if you spell it wrong, that's okay. It will still come to us and get to our queue, and we will try to answer as quickly as we can with questions that come through, whether they're technical or non. So feel free to use that as sort of your direct line to us at headquarters. And then in addition to that, your other direct line is those open Q&A sessions. So please try to mark your calendars for those. I believe the links for the Zoom calls were in that email, but they'll also be on the intranet page. And you're welcome to share those with coaches that might be able to attend, or any other team members that want to participate and share their feedback as well. So we'll communicate ahead of those 2 dates. If there's any other surveys or anything else that we'd like you guys to distribute to participating coaches, so we can get as much information from you guys piloting all of this stuff to see how it goes, so we can make it hopefully available to the network here soon. So I'll finish with my favorite picture in our entire library and say thank you again. You guys are venturing down sort of an unknown path and trusting some technology into things that normally don't have a lot of technology in them. So we really appreciate you diving in and helping us test all of this out and sharing, honestly, your open feedback. We'd love to know how it's going, what challenges, what things that you think could make it better. We're kind of an open book at this point of what we have thought of so far, but need your voices in there to know what's going to make it the best possible experience for both the coaches and the kids going forward, so that this actually works like we want it to, and kids keep coming back to our program. So with that, I'm going to stop. I talked a lot. I appreciate you guys bearing with me. If there's any final questions, you're more than welcome to come off mute and ask, or drop them in the chat. But ultimately, we just want to say thank you.
Excuse me, I'm looking at the password protected page.
Yes.
You don't have the time, and I didn't write it down, for March 11th and March 25th.
Yes, they're at 1 p.m. Eastern, and we'll get
1
that
p.m.
updated.
Correct. Thanks. I'm just going to add it to my calendar.
Yeah, no worries.
All
Default.
right. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you guys. Default, we do most webinars at 1 p.m. So if you had to guess, join at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Awesome. Thumbs up from Taylor. So, we will, I think, if anything comes up, feel free to shoot us a note in the queue. We will communicate to this group once the gamification is on. So you'll be able to see the badges tab, the award badges buttons, and all the things I showed you today. And like I said, we're aiming for the end of this week to make that available to you. So we will let you know as soon as that is ready, so you guys can start clicking around and sharing it with your coaches. But we look forward to hearing how it goes, and hopefully talking to you on the 11th, if not sooner. So with that, I will let you get back to your afternoon. But thanks everybody for attending.